Maya Johnson stood before her bedroom mirror, meticulously adjusting her light sea green summer dress. Sunlight streamed through the sheer curtains, casting a warm, golden glow throughout the room. Today was a milestone, her third wedding anniversary, with Elias. She planned a surprise visit to his workplace, bearing his favorite cream puffs from Sugar Mill Bakery. Elias Hayes, her husband, held the position of director at Apex Global Construction, AGC, a large construction firm. He typically arrived home late, weary from his demanding job, yet he always made time to listen attentively to her daily experiences. Maya, a child psychologist at a private development center, enjoyed shorter workdays. She decided to use this extra time to brighten the day of her beloved husband. Glancing at the clock, she noted it was 3:30 p.m. Maya grabbed her purse and the box of pastries, ready to go. The bus trip to his office usually took around 20 minutes. She pictured the look of surprise and delight on Elias's face when she appeared unexpectedly in his office. The AGC corporate office building was situated in the heart of the city's bustling downtown business district. It was a modern, 7-story structure of glass and concrete, enhanced by the verdant landscaping of a small surrounding plaza. Maya had visited the location several times for company events, so she knew her way to the elevators and the number of her husband's office. However, a security guard stopped her at the entrance. He was a stout man in his 50s, with streaks of gray in his otherwise dark hair. His badge identified him as Harrison Security. "Hold up," he said, raising a hand in a gesture to stop her. "Entry is prohibited to unauthorized personnel. Do you have an access pass or an appointment?" Maya was taken aback, assuming he was a new employee. "I'm Elias Hayes' wife, the director of the firm. I wanted to surprise my husband." The guard scrutinized her face intently, but showed no sign of recognition. "My apologies, ma'am, but I see the director's wife practically every day, and you are definitely not her. In fact, here she comes now." Maya turned to see a woman approaching the exit. She was tall and slender, with dark hair neatly arranged in an elegant bun. She wore a stylish, expensive business suit and carried a designer leather handbag. The woman seemed poised and strangely familiar. Maya's heart skipped a beat. She recognized her. It was Olivia Price, Elias's ex-wife, the same woman he had divorced 5 years prior, before he and Maya had even met. "Miss Olivia," the guard called out, "I'll see you at the usual time tomorrow." "Of course, Mr. Harrison," she replied in a smooth, melodious voice. "Please tell Mr. Elias V. Hayes that I had to leave for a business matter. I'll see him tomorrow afternoon." Olivia walked past Maya, without so much as a glance, and headed towards the parking lot. Maya was stunned by what she had just heard. Her thoughts began to race. What did "see you at the usual time tomorrow" imply? Why was his ex-wife visiting her husband's office every day? And, crucially, why did the security guard seem so familiar with her? Making a snap decision, Maya decided to play along. "Excuse me, I must have the wrong building. Could you direct me to Mr. Belding? Bermudez in the Human Resources Department? We have an appointment." The guard, now satisfied that he had identified an imposter, politely gave her directions. Maya proceeded to the 3rd floor, but instead of going to Human Resources, she headed towards the elevator that led to the 5th floor, where Elias's office was located. Maya cautiously peered around the corner. Elias's office was located at the end of the long hallway. The door was slightly ajar. She could see him sitting at his large desk, deeply engrossed in reviewing some documents. His dark hair was slightly disheveled, and he looked concentrated and tired. Just then, the associate director, Mark Dixon, a man of large build with a kind face and perpetually smiling eyes, entered the office. "Elias, how are things progressing with the Parkside Boulevard project?" Miss Olivia submitted all the necessary paperwork. Maya's heart pounded in her chest. So Olivia was indeed involved with work. "Yes, everything is in order," Elias replied. "She'll bring the final calculations tomorrow. We wouldn't have been able to manage this project without her." "It's a good thing you two were able to maintain a working relationship," Dixon commented. "It doesn't always work out that way for everyone, although I understand why you're keeping this collaboration quiet. Olivia is a professional," Elias responded curtly. "And as for Maya, I simply don't want to give her unnecessary reasons to worry. She can be too sensitive about these things sometimes." Maya felt a sharp pang of hurt. It was now clear that Elias was not only maintaining a relationship with his ex-wife, but was actively working with her and intentionally concealing it from Maya, deeming her too sensitive to understand. After Dixon left, Maya decided not to risk being discovered any further. She quickly returned to the first floor and exited the building. Olivia was already driving away, but Maya memorized her car's license plate, a silver Honda sedan with license plate 547 LMA. The entire bus ride home, Maya was lost in contemplation. Why was Elias hiding the fact that he was working with his ex-wife? What exactly was the Parkside Boulevard project? And, most importantly, could she truly trust a husband who considered her so immature that he couldn't share essential business matters? Back at home, she mechanically placed the box of pastries on the kitchen counter and settled in to wait for Elias. He usually returned around 7:00 the evening, but today he was delayed until 9:30. "Hey, sweetie," he said, kissing her tiredly on the cheek. "Sorry I'm late. So much work. I was held up with important negotiations." "What negotiations?" she couldn't help but ask. Elias looked at her, surprised. "The Parkside Boulevard project, complex technical matters." "What's going on? You seem a little strange." Maya wanted to confront him about Olivia, but held back. She simply said, "I bought your favorite cream puffs. I was going to bring them to the office, but I changed my mind." "Thanks." Elias smiled. "And why the office?" "It's much cozier at home. Besides, we're in such a tense situation with the project right now, with constant meetings." This sentence definitively reinforced Maya's suspicion that her husband was hiding something. If everything was above board, he would have been delighted by her desire to visit him at work, not dissuade her. The next morning, Elias left for work at 8:30 a.m., as usual. Maya only had morning classes scheduled with the children on Thursdays, leaving her free after lunch. She decided to use this time to uncover what was really happening between her husband and his ex-wife. Her conscience bothered her, but the need to know the truth was stronger. After work, around 2 p.m., Maya arrived at the AGC office building and took a seat on a bench in the plaza across the street. From there, she had a clear view of both the entrance and the parking lot. Olivia's silver Honda sedan was already in the parking lot, indicating that she had arrived either that morning or around lunchtime. Maya waited, the time passing agonizingly slowly. She imagined Olivia sitting in her husband's office, discussing projects and reminiscing over shared memories. At 3:30 p.m., Olivia left the building, but instead of getting into her car, she walked down the street. Maya hurried after her, trying to keep a discreet distance. Olivia arrived at a small cafe called Benny's Corner Bistro and went inside. Through the window, Maya saw her sit at a table and order something from the waitress. Soon after, an older woman joined her, accompanied by a young boy, about 5 or 6 years old, wearing a yellow t-shirt and cut-off denim shorts. He ran to Olivia and embraced her, and she lovingly stroked his head and kissed him. Then the three of them, Olivia, the woman, and the boy, walked to the playground adjacent to the cafe. Maya froze, her throat suddenly dry. Was it possible? Did Elias have a child from his first marriage that he had never disclosed to her? Maya observed the trio on the playground. The boy played on the swings, while Olivia and the woman stood nearby, chatting. Occasionally, Olivia would approach the child, straighten his clothes, or say something to him. The resemblance. Maya scrutinized the boy's features, searching for familiar traits. Dark hair like Elias's, the same shape of his eyes, and a chin that was undeniably similar to her husband's. With trembling hands, Maya cautiously took several photos on her phone. Her heart was beating so loudly that she felt like everyone on the street could hear it. How could Elias conceal the existence of his own child from her? They had been married for 3 years and were planning to start a family next year. How could he have lied to her for all this time? Maya recalled their early months of dating. Back then, Elias had been guarded about his past, particularly about his first marriage. She had assumed that he was simply pained to remember the failed relationship. Now, she realized that he might have been intentionally avoiding the topic to prevent her from being scared off by his ongoing relationship with his ex-wife. But back then, they were only dating. Now, they were husband and wife, and there shouldn't be secrets between spouses. When Elias came home, Maya studied his face, searching for any signs of guilt or deception, but he seemed the same as always, tired after a long day at work. "Sweetie, you're acting strange again," he noted. "Did something happen?" Maya almost broke down. She desperately wanted to reveal everything, confront him about her surveillance, and demand answers to all the questions that were tormenting her. But something held her back. "I'm just tired," she lied. "A lot of work at the center." Elias hugged her. "How about we go somewhere this weekend? You could use a break from everything. Do you not have plans for the weekend?" Maya asked cautiously. "None special, just you and me." For some reason, this statement did not reassure her. Instead, it made her feel even more uneasy. What if he did have plans involving Olivia and the boy, and he was lying yet again? Back at home, Maya paced around the apartment like a caged bird. She kept looking at the photographs of the boy on her phone, trying to confirm or deny his resemblance to Elias. At times, the similarity seemed undeniable. At other times, she felt like she was imagining it all. But the facts remained. Olivia was visiting her husband's office every day. The guard mistook her for his wife. She was picking up the boy and spending time with him, and Elias had remained silent about it all. Maya tried to put herself in Elias's shoes. How would you tell a new woman that you have a child from a previous marriage, especially if the relationship with the ex-wife was complicated? But 3 years had passed. They had been living together as husband and wife for 3 years. How could he hide something so significant? Maya remembered the strange phone calls that Elias sometimes received. He would step into another room, speak in a hushed voice, and then explain that they were work-related matters. Now, these calls took on a new, suspicious meaning. She also recalled the times he had been delayed at work without explanation or left on weekends for unspecified errands. Maya had always trusted him and never pressed him for details. Now, every one of those instances seemed suspect. When Elias came home around 8:30 p.m., Maya could barely restrain herself from unleashing a barrage of accusations, but she resolved to gather more information first. "How are things?" he asked, kissing her cheek as usual. "Normal. And yours?" "Tense. The Parkside Boulevard project requires constant attention. I spent the whole day in meetings today." "And what exactly is this project?" she inquired cautiously. "Maya..." Elias hesitated for a moment. "Construction of a residential complex. Nothing interesting, just calculations and paperwork." "Are you working alone? Or is someone helping you?" "Our team is close. Everyone helps," Elias responded evasively. "And why all the questions?" Maya realized she had gone too far. "I'm just interested in your work. We so rarely talk about it." "Work is work," Elias shrugged. "When I'm home, I want to rest from it." This response definitively confirmed Maya's belief that her husband was hiding something. On Friday, Maya again only had morning classes. After work, she returned to the AGC office. Olivia, as on the previous day, appeared around 2 p.m. Maya decided to take more decisive action. She waited for Olivia to enter the building and then went to the parking lot. The silver Honda sedan was parked in the same spot. Maya cautiously peered inside. In the back seat, she spotted a child's backpack decorated with pictures of superheroes. Her heart skipped a beat. Was it the boy's backpack? At 3:30 p.m., Olivia left the building, as she had done the day before. But today, she immediately got into her car and drove away. Maya called for a rideshare and asked the driver to follow the silver Honda sedan. "Following someone, huh?" The driver smiled, a man in his 40s with a friendly face. "Is the husband cheating?" "Something like that," Maya replied evasively. Olivia drove towards the city's residential neighborhoods. She stopped at an unremarkable 10-story building on Riverview Street. She got out of the car and entered the lobby. Maya asked the driver to wait and followed her into the lobby. A tenant directory hung on the wall. She scanned the surnames: Jones, Miller, Harrison, the guard, Price. Price. This was Olivia's maiden name. Price. Celeste, apartment 43. This meant that Olivia's sister lived here and used the same last name, indicating that she was either unmarried or had reverted to her maiden name. Maya went up to the 4th floor and listened at the door of apartment 43. She could hear a woman's voice and a child's voice. "Auntie Olivia, are we going to the park today?" the boy asked. "Of course, Maxie. First we'll eat and give Mommy her medicine. And when will Mommy be all better?" "Soon, little man. The doctor said that in about a week she can pick you up from daycare herself." Maya stood motionless. Mommy is sick, so that's why Olivia was picking up the child and spending time with him. But this didn't explain the most important thing. Whose child was he? And why did he look so much like Elias? Maya went downstairs and got back into the car. The driver was waiting patiently, flipping through news articles on his phone. "Did you find what you were looking for?" he asked. "Not quite yet," Maya confessed. Half an hour later, Olivia and the boy emerged from the building. They got into the Honda and drove towards downtown. Maya asked the driver to follow them. This time, Olivia stopped at a children's clinic. She and the boy went inside. Maya paid the driver, got out of the car, and followed them into the clinic. There was a line at the reception desk, and Maya stood in it, observing Olivia and the boy. They were sitting in the hallway, waiting for their consultation. The boy was restless and didn't want to sit still. Olivia patiently calmed him down. "Next. Wells, Marcus Y," the nurse called out. Maya listened attentively. Wells, Marcus. The last name was different from Olivia's and her sister's. The middle initial Y meant the child's father's name began with a Y, not Elias. The relief that washed over Maya was so intense that she nearly burst into tears in the hallway of the clinic. But the joy was quickly replaced by new questions. If the boy wasn't Elias's son, then whose was he? And why did he look so much like her husband? And why was Olivia's sister using the last name Price, while the boy was Wells? After the medical consultation, Olivia and Max went to the pharmacy, then to the park. Maya followed, but no longer driven by desperation, but rather by a burning curiosity. At the park, a young woman joined them, Olivia's sister. She looked very pale and unwell. Maya moved closer, pretending to photograph the ducks in the pond, and managed to overhear part of their conversation. "How are you feeling, Celeste?" Olivia asked. "Better. The doctors say I can go back to work on Monday. Thank you so much for watching, Max." "It's nothing. He's my nephew, and I love spending time with him." "And Mr. Elias V. Hayes doesn't object to you spending so much time on us?" Maya tensed. "Elias understands. He knows our situation. He even loaned me money for the treatment when I reached out to him. I'll have to pay him back as soon as I get my salary." "Don't rush it. The main thing is for you to make a full recovery." Maya felt as if she had been struck by lightning. It turned out that the boy's resemblance to Elias was merely a coincidence. The child simply looked like his father. That evening at home, Maya couldn't relax. On the one hand, she felt relieved that the child was not Elias's son. On the other hand, the fact that her husband was keeping secrets still tormented her. Why hadn't he told her that he was helping his ex-wife? Why was he hiding that they worked together? Did he trust her so little that he couldn't share such important matters? Maya tried to put herself in Elias's shoes. How do you tell your wife that you are helping your ex-spouse, especially if you suspect your wife might misunderstand or become jealous? But helping people close to you is a noble act. Why did Elias feel the need to conceal it? Saturday passed in a strained attempt to act normal. The couple went to the mall, bought groceries, and watched a movie at home. But Maya sensed tension in every gesture her husband made. His phone rang twice, and each time he went to another room to answer. The conversations were brief, but Maya noticed that he spoke in a hushed tone. "Who was calling?" she asked. "Work matters," Elias replied. On Saturday evening, they were sitting on the couch watching the news. Elias had his arm around Maya, but she felt distant from him. "Elias," she finally said, "I feel like something hasn't been right between us lately." He looked at her, surprised. "What do you mean? You've become distant. You talk very little about work, and you're often distracted." "Just lots of things going on," he replied. "It's a tense period at work. Maybe I can help somehow. Listen, support you." Elias paused, then said, "There is a situation. but I don't want to burden you with it." Maya's heart began to beat faster. "Tell me, we are husband and wife. We must share everything." Elias was silent again. Celeste, Olivia's sister, was recently in the hospital. Serious surgery. Olivia asked for help with her nephew. Maya froze. Finally, he was starting to open up. "And you're helping?" she asked cautiously. "Well, yes. Olivia sometimes works with us as an outside consultant, and now there's this situation. I had to loan her money for the treatment." Maya noticed that he was still withholding the complete truth. He portrayed the collaboration with Olivia as infrequent consultations, not as their daily interactions. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" Elias looked at her with guilt in his eyes. "I was afraid you would misunderstand. The ex-wife at work every day. Any woman in your place wouldn't be happy." "And what is there to misunderstand here?" Maya felt both relief and resentment simultaneously. "You're helping a sick woman and a child. That's wonderful. You're not jealous?" Elias asked tentatively. "Of a sick woman and a child?" Maya tried to smile. "Elias, you know I'm not like that." But inwardly, resentment and doubt still churned. Why was he so concerned about her reaction? Did he really think of her as that jealous and petty? And why was he still avoiding any mention of the daily meetings with Olivia at the office? On Sunday, Elias was noticeably calmer. Now that he had shared at least part of the truth, he seemed to have had a weight lifted off his shoulders. During breakfast, he even initiated a conversation about Olivia. "You know, I think you two should meet. She's a good person. We just didn't work out in the marriage." Maya almost choked on her coffee. "Meet her?" "Well, yeah. Since we sometimes work together, and now we're helping her family. It's silly to pretend you don't know her. She's also worried that I have a new family and that we cross paths so often because of work." "I'll think about it," Maya said. After breakfast, Elias went to the store, leaving Maya alone with her thoughts. She understood that her husband had told her far from everything. He hadn't mentioned that Olivia was at the office every day, that the guard mistook her for his wife, or that they were working together on an important project. Why was he still hiding things? And, most importantly, could she trust a husband who, even when telling the truth, didn't present the complete picture? Maya decided to give herself more time to process everything. Maybe it would be wise to speak with Olivia directly, or maybe it was best to wait until Elias told her everything himself. The phone rang, interrupting her thoughts. It was her mother. "Maya, how are things? You haven't called in a while." "Everything's fine, Mom," Maya lied. "Just working. Living." "And Elias? Is he being good to you?" "What are you talking about, Mom?" "What do you mean? Good. I can hear in your voice that something's wrong." A mother's heart is never wrong. Maya almost broke down. How she longed to share everything with her mother, vent her feelings, and get advice, but she couldn't until she had sorted out the situation herself. She couldn't involve anyone else in her doubts. "Everything's normal. I'm just a little tired." "Well, I won't push it, but if anything happens, call me right away." After the conversation with her mother, Maya felt even more isolated. It seemed she couldn't confide in her husband, her mother, or her friends. All her doubts and fears were trapped inside her. On Monday, Maya went to work, but her mind was preoccupied with everything except the children. She mechanically taught lessons, read stories, and played educational games, but her thoughts constantly drifted back to Elias and Olivia. During her lunch break, she decided to visit the AGC office one more time. Not to spy, but simply to observe their interactions one last time, now armed with some of the truth. At the building entrance, she was greeted again by the guard, Harrison. "Trying to get to the director again?" He smiled. "How many times do I have to explain?" "Perhaps you're mistaken," Maya tentatively suggested. "Maybe that woman is just an employee." Harrison laughed. "What employee?" "Miss Olivia has been working here for several months now. She comes every day. The director takes her everywhere with him, to meetings, to construction sites, and just recently he brought her flowers to her office. The vase is still right there. What employee gets treated like that?" Maya's heart sank. Flowers in the office, joint trips to construction sites. This seemed far more intimate than simple work relationships. "I see," was all she could manage to say. Just then, Elias and Olivia entered the building. She was carrying a folder of documents. They were deep in conversation, discussing something serious. Elias pointed to some blueprints, and Olivia nodded in response. Maya made up her mind. She stepped out from behind the corner and walked directly towards them. "Elias!" she called out. Her husband turned around, his expression freezing in surprise. "Maya, what are you doing here?" "I decided to bring you lunch," she lied, holding up a bag from the cafe she had passed. Olivia looked curiously at Maya, noticing her even greater beauty up close, the refined features, the expressive brown eyes, and the flawless makeup. "Olivia, allow me to introduce you," Elias said, his voice betraying a hint of unease. "This is my wife, Maya." "Maya, this is Olivia Price, the architect I'm collaborating with on the project." "Nice to meet you," Olivia said, extending her hand. "Elias has told me so much about you. The pleasure is mine," Maya replied, shaking Olivia's hand, which felt surprisingly cool to the touch. An awkward silence descended, Elias clearly at a loss for words. "I should get going," Olivia said, breaking the tension. "Mr. Elias V. Hayes, the documents are ready. We can discuss the details tomorrow." Turning to Maya, she added, "It was a pleasure meeting you." Olivia headed toward the parking lot, leaving Maya alone with her husband. "Why did you come here?" he asked, a hint of defensiveness in his tone. "I wanted to meet her." "You suggested it yourself, remember?" "Yes, but not like this. I envisioned a more relaxed setting where we could all talk normally." "And was it uncomfortable for you?" Maya asked, studying her husband's face intently. "Just unexpected," Elias replied, avoiding her gaze. "Come on, let's go up to the office. I'll show you where I work." They walked past the guard, who seemed somewhat startled by their presence. Elias's office was spacious and filled with light, boasting large windows that overlooked the city park. The imposing desk was piled high with documents and blueprints, and photos of construction sites adorned the walls. On the windowsill, a beautiful vase held a bouquet of white roses. "It's beautiful in here," Maya said, nodding towards the flowers. "Who gave them to you?" Elias blushed slightly. "It was a gift from the team when we signed the Parkside Boulevard project contract, a work thing." "From whom specifically? Surely someone organized it." From the whole project team." Maya knew he was lying. Project teams don't typically give such elegant bouquets. It was likely a personal gift, probably from Olivia. She walked over to the desk, and among the papers, she spotted a photograph. Elias and Olivia stood together in front of a building under construction, both wearing hard hats and smiling at the camera. But now, Maya noticed more subtle details. Olivia was leaning slightly toward Elias, almost touching his shoulder, a pose that seemed rather intimate. "What's this?" she asked, pointing to the photo. Elias looked and blushed again. "Oh, that's just a work snapshot from when we launched the Parkside Boulevard project a few months ago." "Elias?" Maya said, her voice firm. "I think you're still hiding something. Olivia doesn't just work with you on this project, does she?" The guard downstairs mentioned he sees her every day and has for several months. Elias sighed heavily and sank into his chair. "Yes, she works here. She's a very good architect, a top-level specialist. When we launched the Parkside Boulevard project, I offered her a permanent position. Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I knew you would worry. The ex-wife at work every day. Any woman in your position wouldn't be thrilled." Maya sat down opposite him. "Elias, I'm not just any woman. I'm your wife, and I want to know the truth, even if it's unpleasant." "Fine," he said after a pause. "Yes, Olivia has been working with us for 4 months. Yes, we cross paths every day for work. And yes, I'm helping her with some family issues. But there's nothing romantic between us. It's strictly work and an old friendship." "Friendship? You were married for 3 years. You can't just become enemies because you divorced." Maya considered his words. They seemed logical, but something still bothered her. "And why does the guard think she's your wife?" Elias looked at her in surprise. How do you know that? Maya realized she had revealed too much. He told me himself when I stopped by last week. You came by last week? When? On Wednesday. I wanted to surprise you, but the guard wouldn't let me in. Elias rubbed his forehead. Harrison, he simply doesn't know I got married a second time. When Olivia started working with us, I didn't tell everyone the details of our past. I decided that the fewer rumors, the better. So, your employees don't even know I exist? Of course, they know. Well, most of them do. It just hasn't come up with everyone. Maya felt a new pang of hurt. It seemed Elias was hiding their marriage so thoroughly at work that even the guard still believed Olivia was his wife. After the conversation in the office, Maya felt even more confused. On one hand, Elias had finally confessed about his collaboration with Olivia. On the other hand, he had concealed their marriage from some of his colleagues. That evening, when Elias went to shower, she picked up his phone, her conscience wrestling with her curiosity. Despite feeling guilty, the desire to know the truth overwhelmed her. In the list of recent calls, she saw Olivia's name. There were incoming and outgoing calls almost every day, sometimes several times. Maya opened the messages. The correspondence was varied. There were work-related messages, like documents ready or meeting postponed, and requests to discuss project changes. But there were also more personal exchanges. Thank you for the support. You're right. As always, I don't know what I would do without you. And at the very end, Maya found messages from the past few days. Olivia, thanks for the help with Celeste. She's getting discharged tomorrow. Max is so happy. I'll pay you back as soon as I can. Elias's reply. Don't rush the money. The main thing is that everyone is healthy. Give Max my love. Olivia, he's asking when Uncle Elias is coming to visit. Maybe this weekend? Elias, we'll see. Right now, Maya doesn't know anything about the situation. Elias, eventually, I'm not ready for that conversation yet. Maya closed the phone, feeling a mixture of relief and offense. On one hand, the messages confirmed that there was nothing romantic between her husband and Olivia. They were genuinely helping a sick sister and her son. On the other hand, Elias was discussing with his ex-wife things he couldn't discuss with his current wife. When Elias came out of the shower, Maya was sitting on the bed, looking guilty. What's wrong? He asked, sensing her unease. Elias, please forgive me. I checked your phone. He froze, towel in hand. Why? I wanted to make sure you were telling the truth. And what did you find there? The correspondence with Olivia. About work, about her sister, and about how you're not ready to talk to me about all of it. Elias sat down next to her. Maya, if there's no trust between us, then there's no marriage. You need to trust me. I'm trying to, but you've hidden so much, and you're even discussing our relationship with her. I'm not discussing our relationship. I was just explaining why I couldn't immediately tell you about a complicated situation. Why couldn't you? Elias reflected for a moment. Because I was afraid. Afraid that you would misunderstand, that you would think I still felt something for Olivia, and I only feel friendship and gratitude because she didn't make a scene during the divorce. Maya looked into his honest eyes. Elias, I'm ready for the whole truth. Tell me everything. Elias got up from the bed and walked over to the window. He was silent for a long time, gathering his courage. Okay, he finally said, turning to Maya. I'll tell you everything from the beginning. When Olivia and I divorced, I thought I would never see her again. But last year, I was offered a huge project, a residential complex on Parkside Boulevard. I needed a good architect, and everyone I knew was busy. Dixon suggested I reach out to Olivia. I knew she was a good specialist and was looking for work at the time. And you asked her? Yes, we met, discussed the project. Olivia agreed, but on the condition that our personal relationship was in the past, just work, strictly professional, and that's all. Just work? Elias sighed. At first, yes, but then it turned out her sister had serious health problems. Celeste is raising her son alone. Her husband died in an accident. When the doctor said she needed surgery and there was no money, you loaned her money. Yes. I couldn't say no, especially since Olivia never asks for anything. She only reached out for help at the most critical moment. And the boy, Max, when Celeste was hospitalized, Olivia had to ask a neighbor for help, pick up the boy from daycare, and take him to doctors. I helped several times driving him to the doctor when Olivia had meetings, and you grew attached to him. He's a good boy, and he looks a lot like his father, and something looked strikingly similar to me. Everyone noticed it. Max also saw the resemblance, so he was drawn to me. Maya nodded. Now everything was becoming clearer. And why didn't you tell me any of this? Elias sat next to her. Because I was afraid of your reaction. Imagine, your husband works with his ex-wife every day, gives her money, and helps with her kid. How does that look from the outside? It looks like the act of a good person. And I thought it looked like a betrayal of our marriage. Maya took his hand. Elias, betrayal is when you deceive or lie. And helping people in trouble is nobility. But I lied. I hid important things from you. Yes, you did hide things, and that hurt, but now I understand why. Elias embraced her. Forgive me. No more secrets. Do you promise? I promise. The next day, Maya received an unexpected call from Olivia. Hello, Maya. It's Olivia Price. We met yesterday. Good afternoon, Maya replied, surprised. Could I meet with you? Talk heart to heart? About what? About Elias. About our situation. I feel like problems have arisen between you because of me. Maya hesitated. I don't know. Let's meet at a cafe. I'll explain everything that's bothering you. They agreed to meet at Benny's Corner Bistro at 2:00 the afternoon. Olivia arrived exactly at the appointed time. Today, she was dressed simply in jeans and a light blouse, a departure from her usual business attire. She looked younger and more approachable. Thank you for agreeing to meet, she said, sitting across from Maya. I'm listening. Olivia ordered coffee and began. I know what you think of me. The ex-wife who's constantly around your husband. But things aren't what they seem. And what are they like? Elias and I divorced 5 years ago. Yes, it was painful. But we were able to remain friends. We didn't have children, there were no property disputes. We simply realized we weren't right for each other as spouses. Maya remained silent, listening intently. When I started having trouble finding work, Elias suggested collaborating. I'm an architect, he's a builder. We complement each other well professionally. And the family problems? Olivia sighed. My sister Celeste became seriously ill. She needed surgery, and there was no money. Elias loaned us the money without asking any unnecessary questions. And when she was hospitalized, I started picking up my nephew from daycare. Max, Maya said. Yes. Olivia looked at her in surprise. How do you know his name? Maya blushed. I saw you two with him at the park. You followed us? Olivia frowned. When? Last week. I was following you. There was an awkward silence. Then Olivia laughed. You followed us? Wow. And what did you think? That Max was Elias's son? Maya confessed honestly. Elias's son? Olivia laughed even harder. Oh my goodness, how you must have suffered. Max is my sister's son. His father died in a car accident 2 years ago. Maya felt completely foolish. He just looks so much like Elias. Yes, there's a resemblance. Olivia agreed. Celeste always said that Max reminds her of my ex-husband. Maybe that's why Elias grew so attached to him. He is attached. Of course, Elias loves kids, and Max is crazy about him. He constantly asks when Uncle Elias is coming to visit. Maya felt a heavy weight lift from her soul. Everything turned out to be much simpler and more innocent than she had imagined. Olivia, Maya said, why didn't Elias tell me any of this? He hid that you were working together. Olivia stirred her coffee with a spoon. Because of me. I asked him to. Why? When we started collaborating, I told Elias I didn't want to cause problems in his new family. I asked him not to publicize our communication. I had a bad experience in the past. An acquaintance of mine got married, and his wife raised a real scandal when she found out that we sometimes talked, even though there was nothing between us, and never could be. Maya nodded. She understood Olivia's logic. And when your sister got sick? Then again, I asked Elias not to tell you anything. I was ashamed that I had to ask my ex-husband for money, and I was afraid you would think I was taking advantage of his kindness. So, all of this was because of me? Partially, but also because of me. I didn't want you to see me as a woman who can't manage her life without help from her ex-husband. Maya reflected on what she had heard. It turned out that all of Elias's secrets were driven by a desire to protect her feelings and avoid creating problems. Olivia, how is your sister now? Much better. She's already back at work, although the doctors told her not to overdo it. The operation was successful. And Max? Max is happy that Mommy is home, although I think he misses his walks with Uncle Elias. With Uncle Elias? Yes. Sometimes Elias would join us at the park. Max adores him. Plus, I have a friend, Dominic Foster, a child psychologist. He's helping Max cope with the loss of his father. We met recently, and the relationship is developing very well. I'm happy for you too. Thank you. See, each of us has our own life. Elias has you, and I have Dominic, and our past is in the past. Maya felt increasingly foolish with every passing minute. She had fabricated problems out of thin air, driven herself to the brink of a nervous breakdown, and in reality, there was no problem at all. Olivia, I'm so embarrassed by my behavior. Don't be. Any woman in your place would have worried, but I followed you. That's awful. Forget it. The main thing is that everything is clear now. That evening, Maya waited for Elias with the firm intention of telling him everything about her surveillance, about the meeting with Olivia, and about her fears. When he came home, she immediately started, Elias, I need to tell you something, and you have every right to be mad at me. What did you do? He asked cautiously. I followed Olivia 2 days in a row. Elias sat on the couch and looked intently at his wife. You followed her? Why? Maya told him everything about the guard, about her suspicions, about the child she mistook for his son. She spoke honestly without trying to justify herself. Elias listened in silence. When she finished, he didn't say anything for a long time. You thought I had a son? He finally asked. Yes. And that I was hiding him from you? Maya, if I had a son, do you think I could hide it? From the first day we met, I would only talk about him. I understand that now. But why didn't you just ask me directly? Why did you decide to spy? Maya lowered her eyes. I was scared. Scared to hear the truth. What truth? That I don't love you enough to trust you with important things? Elias hugged her. Silly girl. I hid everything precisely because I love you. I didn't want you to suffer because of Olivia. And in the end, you suffered even more. Yeah. That turned out silly. Forgive me. I'm the one who should apologize for the distrust, for the spying. Well, I forgive you, but let's agree. No more secrets between us, okay? They embraced. And for the first time in a long time, Maya felt peaceful. The next day, Elias came home with an unexpected proposal. How about we invite Olivia and her family over? Seriously? Of course. Since we work together and now we're helping her sister, it would be strange to keep our distance, especially since Max constantly asks if he can visit Uncle Elias. Maya considered it. She liked the idea. She wanted to definitively close this painful chapter and meet Olivia's family normally, without suspicions and fears. You know what? That's a great idea. We can host lunch on Sunday. Excellent. I'll call Olivia and suggest it. On Saturday, they prepared for the guests together. Elias bought groceries. Maya tidied the apartment. She prepared her husband's favorite dishes. Her mood was high. She could finally behave naturally, without making assumptions or tormenting herself with suspicions. What if I don't like her sister? Maya suddenly worried. You'll like her, Elias said confidently. Celeste is a really good person, a strong woman, raising her son alone after her husband's death. Tell me about her. Celeste is 3 years younger than Olivia. She works as a bookkeeper for a small company. She got married young, at 20. Something was a good man. A truck driver. Max takes a lot after his father in personality. Cheerful, outgoing. And what happened? Tragic accident on the highway 2 years ago. The truck skidded on ice and hit a tree. Celeste almost lost it then. Maya imagined the pain of the young woman who lost her husband, and her heart clenched with compassion. How did she cope? Olivia helped a lot. She moved in with her for several months. She watched Max while Celeste worked. Then, gradually, life returned to normal, and the recent illness. Doctors say the stress was too much for her body, but everything's fine now. The surgery helped. Maya felt a growing respect for Olivia's family. These women had endured serious trials and hadn't broken. On Sunday at 1:30, the doorbell rang. Maya opened it and saw Olivia holding a bouquet of flowers. Next to her was a short woman with short brown hair and kind eyes, and between them, a boy in a bright red t-shirt fidgeted. "Hi," Olivia said. "This is my sister, Celeste, and this is Max. Nice to meet you." Celeste extended her hand. "Thank you for inviting us." Max hid behind his mom's leg but watched Maya curiously. "Come in. Make yourselves at home." Maya invited them inside. Elias came out of the kitchen, wiping his hands on a towel. "Hello, everyone. Max, how's it going?" The boy immediately perked up. "Uncle Elias, do you have toys here?" "Of course we do." Elias smiled. "Maya works with kids. She has a whole collection." Maya showed Max a box of educational toys she sometimes brought home from the center. The boy immediately immersed himself in studying the building blocks. The adults settled at the table. Celeste turned out to be a very pleasant conversationalist. She told funny stories about Max. She asked about Maya's work. She thanked Elias for his help. "I don't know how we would have managed without you," she said. "With the money for the surgery and with Max." "No need to thank me." Elias waved it off. "In difficult situations, we have to help each other." "You have a wonderful husband," Celeste told Maya. "There aren't many people like him." Maya looked at Elias and felt a wave of tenderness. Yes, she really had a wonderful husband, a man who wouldn't abandon friends in trouble, who helped another man's child and cared for the vulnerable. And she had almost destroyed their relationship with her silly suspicions. "And have you known Olivia for a long time?" Celeste asked. "Actually, we only met this week," Maya confessed, "although I had heard about her." "Of course," Olivia smiled. "Maya very delicately followed me for several days." "Followed?" Celeste was surprised. She thought Max was Elias's son. "Oh, that," Olivia explained. "Of course. Everyone says Max looks like Mr. Elias." Celeste laughed. "Even I noticed it. My late husband looked strikingly similar to Elias, almost twins. And, does Max know that Uncle Elias is Auntie Olivia's ex-husband?" Maya asked. "He knows," Celeste replied, "but it's not important to him. He just sees a good uncle who plays with him and buys him ice cream." Max ran up to the table at that moment. "Mommy, Uncle Elias is going to be my new daddy." An awkward silence fell. Celeste blushed. "Max, don't be silly. But I want a daddy, and Uncle Elias is good." Elias knelt beside the boy. "Max, I have my wife, Auntie Maya, and you have your mom, but we can be friends. Want to?" "I want to," Max cheered. "And Auntie Maya will be my friend too." Maya looked into the boy's honest eyes and felt her heart fill with warmth. "Of course, I will be. I want very much to be your friend. And Auntie Olivia has a friend too. Uncle Dominic," Max added. "He teaches me how to draw cars." "Max." "And that's great," Celeste said. "Yes." The boy smiled. "Uncle Dominic is good. And Olivia loves him." "That's wonderful," Maya said sincerely. "I'm really happy for you all." After lunch, the women stayed in the kitchen doing dishes while Max and Elias built a block tower on the rug. "Thank you for today," Celeste said. "Max loves being in a big crowd so much." "And have you thought about getting married again?" Maya cautiously asked. Celeste sighed. "I'm thinking about it more and more. But I'm afraid. What if it doesn't work out? Max gets so attached to people." Maya smiled, watching this family, and realized how wrong she had been in her suspicions. Instead of a threat to her marriage, she saw people trying to put their lives back together after difficult losses. "Celeste," she said, "would you be interested in working at our development center? We really need a bookkeeper's assistant right now." "Seriously?" Celeste brightened completely. "The salary is small but stable, and it's close to home, and most importantly, a supportive team. I need to think about it, but the idea of working at a children's center really appeals to me. Think about it. If you decide, give me a call." Laughter came from the living room. Elias and Olivia were clearly having fun with Max, discussing something. "They really remained friends," Celeste noted. "That's rare." "Yes," Maya agreed. "Now I understand it, and you're not jealous. There was a time when I was, but now I understand that it's silly to be jealous of the past. Elias and Olivia had their time. It passed. And now Elias has another life with me." "Wise," Celeste approved, nodding. Just then, Elias and Olivia entered the kitchen. "What are you two whispering about here?" Elias asked. "Maya offered me a job at her center," Celeste said. "That's an excellent idea," Elias cheered. "And Max will be close to his mom." "Yes, and he'll meet other children," Maya added. Max lifted his head from the blocks. "There are people there to play with." "Of course," Maya assured him. "Lots of kids of different ages. Then Mommy has to take the job," the boy declared. Everyone laughed. "Well," Celeste said, "I will seriously consider your offer." Toward evening, the guests prepared to leave. Max didn't want to say goodbye to his new friends, but his mom promised they would meet again. "Thank you for such a wonderful day," Olivia said, hugging Maya warmly. "Goodbye. It meant so much to me to meet you like this, just the two of us." "It did to me too," Maya replied, returning the hug. "And please, forget all that nonsense about my suspicions. What matters is that we've finally gotten to know each other for real." Celeste offered her goodbyes as well. "I'll definitely be thinking about your job offer. Working in a place that helps children like that is incredibly tempting. I'll be waiting for your call." Max dashed over to Elias, his face full of excitement. "Uncle Elias, can I come visit again soon?" "Of course you can, Max," Elias said, smiling. "Auntie Maya and I will be waiting for you." "And will you come visit us?" Max asked. "I have tons of toy cars." "We'd love to," Maya promised. After their guests departed, Elias and Maya began clearing the table. "So, what did you think of my friends?" Elias asked, a hint of nervousness in his voice. "I liked them very much," Maya responded sincerely. "Celeste is an amazing woman, and Max is just the sweetest child." "Yes, they're truly good people. I'm glad I can help them," Elias replied. Maya stopped what she was doing, turning to face Elias in the middle of the kitchen. "Elias," she began, her voice filled with emotion, "please forgive me, one more time, for everything. For the distrust, for the spying, for almost letting silly fantasies ruin what we have." Elias stepped forward and embraced her tightly. "Stop apologizing, Maya. I'm also to blame. I should have told you everything right away. But look at it now. We have new friends. And soon, maybe even a new colleague. If Celeste accepts the job, it'll be wonderful, and the interaction with other children will be so beneficial for Max." He paused, then added cautiously, "And perhaps, maybe we should start thinking about having children of our own." Maya looked at him, surprised but also touched. "You think so?" "Why not?" Elias smiled. "We've been married for 3 years now, and we're stable, and after seeing you with Max today, I realized what a wonderful mom you would be, and you'll be a fantastic dad. It's clear how much Max is drawn to you, so, what do you think?" Maya smiled back, her eyes shining. "I think that's a wonderful idea." A week later, Celeste called and accepted the job at the children's center. The center director was overjoyed, as he was desperate for an experienced bookkeeper. "Miss Maya, your recommendation was pure gold," he told her. "Celeste has already gotten a handle on everything." Maya was thrilled that everything had worked out so well. Max also adjusted quickly to the new environment, happily playing with the other children. After Celeste's workday, he often stayed an extra hour or two to play and talk with Maya. Olivia and Elias continued their work on the Parkside Boulevard project. Now that Maya knew about their collaboration, she even asked about its progress during dinner. "How's the construction coming along?" "Well, Olivia brilliantly solved the problem with the upper floor planning," Elias would say. "We would have been stuck for another month without her. She truly is a professional." "Yes, a very talented architect. It's a shame we didn't think of working together sooner," Maya would reply. She no longer felt jealous when hearing praise for Olivia. She understood now that she could appreciate her ex-wife's professional qualities without it threatening her marriage. A year passed. Maya sat in the rocking chair in the nursery, gently feeding her 3-month-old daughter, Eva. The summer sun streamed through the window, bathing the room in a warm light. A sense of peace and quiet filled the apartment. Elias peeked into the room, his face softening at the sight. "How are my girls doing?" "Eva ate and is falling asleep," Maya whispered. "And the guests will be here soon." "Yes, at 3. Today, we're celebrating the first anniversary of our great company," Elias chuckled, using the jokingly name they had given to their tight-knit group of friends. So much had changed over the past year. Celeste had married Jordan Scott, the center's program coordinator. They had a small but heartfelt wedding 4 months ago, surrounded by close friends. Max had been the ring-bearer, a role he took very seriously. He now had a real dad who adored him and had officially adopted him. Olivia had moved in with Dominic 6 months ago. Their relationship was blossoming, and they were planning a fall wedding. Dominic fit seamlessly into their circle of friends and quickly bonded with Max, and Elias and Maya had welcomed their daughter, Eva, a long-awaited and much-loved addition to their family. Max was overjoyed at his role as a big brother and constantly brought his favorite toys for the baby. "Uncle Elias, when Eva grows up, will she play with cars?" he asked inquisitively. "Maybe. Or maybe she'll prefer dolls," Elias replied, smiling. "Then I'll buy her a doll too," Max declared. The Parkside Boulevard project had been a resounding success, and Olivia and Elias had received a new commission to design a children's center. Maya joked that it was destiny. Celeste was thriving at the children's center and had even been promoted to head bookkeeper. Max was in the preparatory group at the same center and was incredibly proud that his mom worked there. At 3 sharp, the guests began to arrive, Celeste with Max and Jordan, and Olivia with Dominic. Max immediately raced to the crib to see Eva. "She's grown," he exclaimed, gazing at the baby with admiration. "And she's really smiling now." "Of course she's 3 months old already," Maya explained, laughing. "And when will she start walking?" "Not yet. First, she'll learn to sit, then to crawl," Maya answered. "I'll teach her everything," Max declared. As they gathered around the table, they reminisced about the past year, sharing funny and touching memories, recalling the difficulties they had overcome, and celebrating the joys they had shared. "And remember when Maya followed me?" Olivia said, bursting into laughter. "How could I forget?" Maya replied, blushing slightly. "I'm still embarrassed about that. There's no need to be," Dominic interjected kindly. "Any woman in your place would have been worried. The important thing is that everything turned out well. More than well," Celeste added, smiling. "Now, we all have a new family, and I have lots of friends," Max announced proudly. "Mommy Celeste, Daddy Jordan, Auntie Maya, Uncle Elias, Auntie Olivia, and Uncle Dominic, and little friend Ava." Elias raised his glass. "Yes, the best company in the world." Maya looked around at these people, so different, yet so connected. Just a year ago, she had been terrified of losing her husband to his ex-wife. Now, Olivia had become one of her closest friends. Celeste was a loyal friend and colleague, Dominic a wise confidant, Max a beloved nephew, and Jordan fit seamlessly into their circle. All her fears and suspicions had turned out to be unfounded. Elias loved her deeply. He was a devoted husband and a wonderful father. His kindness towards the people who had once intimidated her only strengthened her love for him. "To our great company," Olivia proposed, raising her glass. "To friendship," Elias seconded. "To happiness," Celeste added. "To everything being all right," Max finished, holding up his glass of juice, Everyone raised their glasses in a toast, and Maya thought to herself that she had never felt happier in her life. And it was all because they had learned to trust one another and to open their hearts to new people. Little Eva stirred in her crib and cooed softly, as if she, too, was celebrating the special occasion. Max immediately ran over to her side. "Hello, Eva. Look how many friends you have." Maya realized that their family secret was no secret at all, but the secret to true happiness, the ability to forgive, to trust, and to welcome good people into your life, regardless of where they came from. A few months later, Olivia and Dominic were married. Max was the guest of honor, and little Eva was the youngest participant in the celebration. A year later, Olivia and Dominic welcomed a son, Julian. Max was thrilled to have another little brother, and Eva had a playmate. Their great company continued to grow, filled with new joys, new traditions, and new love. Maya thanked fate every day that her silly suspicions hadn't destroyed the happiness that awaited them all. Sometimes, looking at their close-knit group, she wondered, what if, on that very first day, I had simply walked up to Elias and asked him directly how much torment and fear could have been avoided? But then she understood. Perhaps those very trials had made their family so strong and united. Now, there were no secrets or distrust between them. They knew they could rely on each other in any situation. And most importantly, they knew that true love is not afraid of the truth, but is only strengthened by it.